Hey guys, what is going on? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back once more, bringing you another video, although this time, we'll be reviewing a game. This is kind of be like a little piece of like history, essentially. I wanted to just like talk about my gaming history and why I play on Xbox now, pretty much exclusively. Go over, for those of you my subscribers who may not listen to TXR, who might want a little more info about me. So yeah, let's get into that. So probably like everybody my age, I'm 34. I was first introduced to video gaming with the NES. Now I did have an Atari before that, or a Commodore 64 or whatever, but I don't have no recollection of having those. But I do recall having an NES. I mean, I remember getting it for my birthday. I remember going to my buddy's house when I was a kid and seeing Punch-Out and being utterly, like, amazed at Punch-Out. And, like, I had to have it. I told my parents, and eventually, for my birthday, I forget what year, I got the triple pack Nintendo thing. I got Super Mario Brothers that came with Duck Hunt and Track and Field. And that's pretty much where everything started. I fell in love with video games from that very moment. The NES is a great system. It's got a lot of great games on there. In fact, I think if I had to say which is probably my favorite Nintendo game, I would probably say Super Mario Brothers 3. And yes, I've seen the Wizard at the show. But I mean, it's got a bunch of games on there. The original Zelda, Legend of Zelda, Metroid. I mean, so many classic games. And it was a great system. But that's where my love affair with Nintendo began and ended. I don't have the same type of emotional attachment a lot of people have to Nintendo. Because after the NES, my next Nintendo system wasn't until the GameCube, and that was a secondary purchase. So after I got Nintendo, I switched to Sega Genesis. I was a Genesis man. Sonic the Hedgehog was my religion. That it was like one of those things when you're a kid and I have a Genesis and your friend has a Nintendo, you'll always be like, Sonic is better, and they would be like, no, Mario's better. Like, how could you say that? Yeah, I mean, I was also at the mercy of what my parents bought me. So, because I was a kid, they bought me a Genesis. I eventually got the Sega CD and the 32X to go along with it, and a bunch of games. I should also probably mention, I probably owned 120 Nintendo games, and I probably owned about 80 Sega games. But I mean, I really don't remember any, like, really good Sega games, like I can, like, really good Nintendo games. I recall, liking Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 quite a bit. I recall playing Streets of Rage quite often. The Terminator arcade game, the one where it's a light gun shooter, kind of. Or at least what was in the arcade, but wasn't necessarily when it came to the Genesis. I remember me and my brother playing that all the time. I remember my dad really liking Joe Montana football. And he used to play seasons, like kept like records on his paper, and I would watch him play, and it was great. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I had the Sega CD, and I just didn't really. The only thing I remember from the Sega CD is Night Trap, that little FMV video game where girls in like lingerie were being like taken by dudes in ski masks that caused such an uproar. Other than that, like, I don't really have a lot of memories of that, and I mean, I kind of wish, looking back on it now, this is my secret shame of gaming, was that I have never played a Super Nintendo game. I didn't own a Super Nintendo, I've never played a Super Nintendo game. I know a lot of people, when I tell them that, they look at me differently, not in like a good or bad way, but they're just like, really? You never played a Super Nintendo game? And no, I never did. I didn't play any of them. I've heard great things about them. I mean, I would love to play them. I don't know. I really don't necessarily go back. But that is my shame in gaming, is the fact that I never owned a Super Nintendo, and I never played a Super Nintendo game. So after my foray with Sega, I became a PlayStation fanboy. I know some of you probably are like, I knew it, Rand's an undercover pony, but I mean, back then, when the PlayStation 1 came out, that was the system, man. It was one of my favorite systems ever. Had a lot of great games. One of my favorite games of all time, Final Fantasy VII, on that system. I couldn't tell you how many times I played through the campaign of that game. Same thing with like Final Fantasy VIII. I was a big Final Fantasy fanboy back then too. Not so much anymore. I mean, I do enjoy the series. I just, like, there was a point in time in my life where like Final Fantasy was the biggest thing. Like the biggest thing in video games. For me. I don't know if I've outgrown it or it just doesn't fit my what I like anymore. I mean, I'm still interested in Final Fantasy 15, but you know, I have never been hyped more for a game than I remember Final Fantasy 8 because I played 7 so much that when 8 came out, I was like, oh my god, I need to have this. So yeah, PlayStation, you know, I got a Dreamcast. The Dreamcast was a great system. It's too bad it, you know, failed, and essentially, you know, his lifespan was cut short, unfortunately. It was a great system. I remember being at college when that came out and having some cool games, playing like the NBA 2K series and stuff, and some other great games they had in that system. It's just a shame that, you know, it didn't amount to more, although, you know, Microsoft kind of carried on the Sega flag. And then I got a PlayStation 2. This is when I start, you know, having kind of, when the PlayStation 2 came out. Yeah, I think that was maybe the first system I bought on my own. The other ones I might have been too younger, but so PlayStation 2 came out, what, 2000? So yeah, I bought that one. I didn't buy a PlayStation 1. So PlayStation 2, like next to the 360, is probably my favorite system of all time. I mean, it had everything. It had all the third-party exclusives, Grand Theft Auto, Hit-Big, Metal Gear, Devil May Cry. I mean, you name it, like, PlayStation 2 had it. And I know, you know, the Xbox at the time was more powerful, but I was a PlayStation guy. Like, I loved the, you know, the games that they brought. Not necessarily Sony's own games, because in those days, the PS1 and PS2 days, their first-party output was a little lacking, not like it is now, where at least they have Uncharted and stuff like that, but back then they relied solely on the third parties for bringing the thunder, and the third parties did. So, you know, out of the Sony stuff, you know, I always like Ratchet and Clank. What other games I'm trying to even think of, because I haven't played anything on the PS3, but Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter. I've never been a big MLB fan, so I didn't really play any of that stuff. And, you know, during that time when I had PS2, I did buy a GameCube when it got down to $99. Played all the cool games on there, like Metroid Prime, Metroid Prime 2, Metroid Prime 3, obviously Paper Mario, Super Mario Sunshine. I didn't play that many games on there. I mean, I played Beyond Good and Evil, but I mean, that was available everywhere. I just bought it because I think they had that $100 promotion where it was like on sale for $99 with the game, and that's when I picked it up. And it wasn't very much a fan of the design of the system or the controller. I'm not really that, like I said, I don't have really the love of Nintendo that other people do, so I really don't care about Mario Kart or Melee or Smash Brothers or all that stuff. That doesn't mean anything to me. Zelda, I did play Wind Waker. It was alright. But I mean, nothing mind-blowing. It was just a competent system, you know, with competent games. And, you know, people ask me, are you excited for NX? And the answer is, frankly, no. I am not at all excited for NX. I don't care what they're doing. If it's a handheld, I'm already out. I don't care. I don't play handhelds. I play consoles. I don't really go anywhere where I would want to bring a video game system with me. And I don't think Nintendo provides the sort of games that I like, so I have no interest in picking up an NX whenever that is finally unveiled, which is supposed to be unveiled relatively soon, I think. But I mean, hopefully the Nintendo fans like it. I just know I won't. Now we come to the Xbox portion of this. So I picked up the original Xbox right around when Halo 2 came out. Got caught into the hype. Loved it. Absolutely loved Halo 2. One of my favorite games of all time. The game I probably played the most in my entire life. I played it every single day for a year. A year! Every day. I was addicted to the multiplayer so much. And I mean, that is essentially why I play an Xbox now. Like, I got so addicted into Halo 2 multiplayer. I made a lot of friends through Xbox Live, which at the time was revolutionary. And because of that, like, I started playing less and less on my PlayStation and my GameCube. And, you know, when the 360 came out, I bought it a couple months after it came out because they were kind of hard to find. And, you know, I originally bought it because I remember it could upscale Halo 2 on your TV. And I was like, I'm going to get it for that. And I did. But, like, the big thing that happened was I bought a couple games ago that came with it, namely Call of Duty 2. And once that first achievement unlocked, I was like, what is this? And you gotta understand, normally when I play a game, I play it on the default settings, right? So normal difficulty or whatever the developers set it at. But then I looked, when I got that achievement, I'm like, what is this? And I looked and it says, you know, you gotta beat it on veteran. So I decided to, you know, that choice, I decided to play it on veteran to get all of them. That was the beginning of, I guess you could say, my addiction to achievements. And ever from that moment, the 360 and Xbox have been my primary platform. You know, I was always looking forward to the PS3 though, because you know, even when I got the 360 and started playing it, I still thought of myself as a PlayStation fanboy. They still made the games that I liked, and then of course they unveiled the PS3, and it was $600, and they started talking about having 2 jobs and how their fans would buy it, even if it, you know, didn't have any games and stuff. And I just felt like so turned off by that. The fact that, like, there was nothing interesting on the PlayStation for 3 years. Even though my 360 broke a few times, I was more than happy to replace it for free because of the warranty rather than pick up a PlayStation, because at that time the PlayStation 3 was trash. It eventually became better, but it, you know, it wasn't very good. But yeah, so, you know, now I'm on the Xbox One. You know, I think I have like over 450 Xbox One games. Like, my backlog is ridiculous. Between the 360 and the Xbox One, I think I've played close to 1,300 games, and depending on how you count your completion stats, if you count, you know, if you don't count DLC towards completion, I've completed 912 games. If you do count DLC, I think I'm like 875. So I play a lot of games, but I also complete a lot of games. And, you know, Halo's still my, you know, favorite Xbox franchise. I don't like Gears as much. I like the single player. And because I get this question quite a bit, they're like, when are you going to get a PS4? When are you going to play these PS3 games? And it's like, I do want to play Uncharted and Last of Us, but maybe I'm just this weird scenario. But, like, I have so many games to play on my Xbox that I just never saw the need to buy a PlayStation 3. By the time maybe I thought I was going to, the PlayStation 4 was on the horizon. And same thing now. It's like, well, I could get the PS4 Slim, but there's the Pro. But it's like, but do I really want to spend $400 on the Pro when I already have 400 some odd games on the Xbox One? I mean, all my friends play on the Xbox. All my games are here. The controller is the best controller, period. I don't care what anybody says. Like, we can debate about what series is better, Uncharted or Halo. That's all subjective, but objectively, the Elite controller and Xbox controllers are the best. Xbox Live is the best. And these things can't be debated. You know, the look of the system between both I never really cared about either. But for me, Xbox just gives me more bang for my buck. And I love achievements. I love playing video games. I love playing all the new games that come out at Xbox games, looking for those hidden gems. And I love getting achievements, and I love playing as many games as I can. And hopefully, maybe one day I'll get a PlayStation, but right now, I'm still just solely fixated on Xbox because it's my favorite, and I love playing on here, and all my friends are on here. And mentioned, you know, the ID at Xbox games, those indie games, and this one right here is We Are Doomed. A lot of people even know what this game is, but it's one of those games I mentioned where you know, you find a hidden gem, and this is definitely one of them. Like, I really enjoyed this game, and that's what just keeps me playing on Xbox. They provide you with the AAA experiences that everybody loves. You know, your Gearses and your Halos, your Sea of Thieves and your Crackdowns and whatever and stuff like that. But then it's also these type of games that you don't expect. The We Are Dooms, the Firewatches, the Virginias, the Insides, you know, the Hyperlight Drifters that also add to the experience that makes Xbox what it is. I mean, because let's face it, I mean, if you go to the store now, the majority of the store is pretty much ID at Xbox games. They dominate the marketplace because, you know, indie games are dime a dozen now, and AAA games are very rare. I mean, they pretty much come out one time a year, and that's it. Although it sounds like they're, you know, this year and next year, it seems like they're going to be a lot of games. It seems like they're finally going through and pushing games on this gen, which is great. Yes, I mean, just to reiterate, I mean, the only thing I would, you know, like want to play on PlayStation is the Uncharted series and Last of Us. Pretty much just not the Naughty Dog games. I really don't have an interest in Killzone. Was that Until Dawn game seems pretty cool. I would check that out, and maybe Infamous, but for the most part, it's just really just the Naughty Dog box to me. And, you know, everybody says they're amazing, and I will play them one day. But, you know, I play an Xbox because it provides me the entertainment I like. And, of course, I know people will be like, well, it also the achievements too. And yeah, that I do love me some achievements. I ain't gonna lie about that. But at the core, it's mostly just about the games. If I didn't love video games, the games that I play, I wouldn't do any of this. I wouldn't, you know, have a million gamer score, because at the end of the day, you gotta actually like playing video games. Because yes, I have played some crappy games out there, Hannah Montanas and My Horse and Me 2s for gamer score. You know, and sometimes, yeah, you didn't like those, but you do it because it's part of the meta. And then, you know, sometimes you find games that you never knew you would like. For instance, I didn't like racing games. And then I played one of the Need for Speeds and found out I really enjoy arcade racers. And now there's Forza Horizon. Forza Horizon, like, that series is one of the best. So you when playing all these different games for points or whatever, I find myself discovering that I like, you know, a certain genre or a certain game type that, you know, I normally wouldn't have even tried if it wasn't for the invention that Microsoft bestowed upon video gaming. Achievements, which Sony then copied with trophies. And Microsoft's doing more with achievements lately. They have the rarity stuff going on there. I'm looking forward to seeing how they work upon that in the future. But yeah, I mean, like I said, best controller, best online service. All my friends play here. They got the games I want to play. They have a wide variety of games, and it's got achievements. What more can I ask for? Plus, it's got hair and giggles, and, you know, that's all I need, right? So yeah, so I mean, I did a couple reviews recently. If you guys want to go back and check that out, I reviewed The Bunker, Firewatch, and Virginia. Two of those are pretty cool games. One is not. I'll let you guys decide for yourself. You guys may have noticed I also got some new artwork. That the Graphic God and Dinero Primero hooked it up. They do great work. Their Twitter handles are in the description of the video. You guys want to hit them up for anything, any artwork related stuff that you may need. And yeah, don't forget TXR podcast Monday night. I'm the host of that. And with that, I will leave you with the last few minutes of this, and I will see you guys on Monday for TXR, and hopefully another video tomorrow. We'll see, but take care, guys.